Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to the Basic Gear Review Podcast. My name is Chris.
I'm Will.
And I'm Nick.
And we are joined remotely via FaceTime, our new friend Josh Baker, who lives out in Nashville. We met him over Facebook, and he expressed a little bit of interest in wanting to kind of come on the podcast and hang out. So we're fortunate to be joined by our new friend Josh Baker. What's up, Josh?
What's happening?
Dude, stoked to have you here, man.
Yeah, I'm glad to be here. It's actually really cool to be talking to the people that do the videos that are cooler than I am. So,
well, come on about that.
No, feelings mutual, dude. I'm really glad we got to touch base, dude. That's right.
Yeah. Sorry, it's been a couple weeks. Just weird things. Well,
you saw Snarky Puppy, right?
Yeah,
so I feel like that automatically gets a pass.
That's if you're talking about cool people. You're talking about
I would have
Snarky
bailed
Puppy.
on this to go see Snarky Puppy.
Oh yeah, me too.
yeah, I know. And I called Chris because I felt really bad. I'm like, dude, it's either this or a parent dying, and then that's the only reason I'd bail on something like this last minute.
Those are some good excuses right there. Yeah.
So yeah,
How was the show?
It was a great show. The sound mix was weird. The bass drum took over a lot of that low end frequency, so his bass wasn't really present in the mix. But I mean, it was a great show. They're perfect. So
yeah, they're amazing. It's tremendous. Nice.
Did the sound guy, like, I know you said that Michael League's bass was a little bit lower, but sometimes he'll like take effects and he'll do solos and stuff. Did the sound guy like at least kick him up a little bit when he had that moment in the sun, or was it pretty much low the whole time?
It was pretty low the whole time, and the keyboards were a
that's
little
kind of a shame.
high. And it was a really big room, though. It was at a Marathon Music Works, and maybe it was where I'm standing, but I was standing in the back. I wasn't standing up front because,
Oh, well then, yeah, if you're standing toward the back, like at least at or past the mixing booth, you should be able to have heard it fine.
Yeah. So, whatever, I guess. they played
cool.
Wonderful, so.
They always do. They're amazing.
Nice, dude. Anyway, so today we're talking about. Nick brought a topic to me a little while ago, and it's taken us a couple days or a couple months actually to make it really come to fruition. But in a second, I'm gonna let Nick take the lead. But essentially, we're talking about how to take. Actually, you know what? Nick is going to explain it better than I can. I'm going to let Nick go with it.
Yeah. No, as Chris said, this is something that we've been kind of marinating on, and the concept is turning passion into profession. We all like what we do. We all started just as everybody starts, in the bedroom with a small practice amp and a, bass that's probably not perfectly in tune, but you love it. You do it. You keep doing it. And eventually you get the idea where you're like, man, I want to record with some friends, or I want to jam with some friends, which eventually becomes I want to record with my friends, which is eventually I want to cut an EP. Let's go on tour. Let's talk about a record deal. So I know it's a difficulty that I've had too, is how do you get from point A to point I'm going on world tour? So yeah, turning passion into profession. There's a lot of questions, a lot of gray area, and I know it's something a lot of people have questions about. So I figured this might be a good format to address some of those questions.
Yeah, we got a lot of different angles too. Each of us has our own different experience with that type of thing, so it'll be.
I've had a tremendous amount of the opposite of success.
Well, that's kind of a success in its own, though, right?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, that old saying of those who can't do teach, so those who can't do, make bass videos, I guess.
Teach people about pedals. Yeah.
Exactly. Well, I'd say in honor of our guest and new friend, let's maybe have Josh go first. Josh, you want to give us a little background on some of your music career and kind of where you're at with it now?
Sure. I started off like he said, just I mowed my uncle's yard twice for my first bass. It was some off-brand, incredibly heavy precision bass knockoff, and learned basics. And just from there, I played more by ear. I never really did music theory. Never dove too deep into that. Mm-hmm. And I wish I had now, which is why I'm doing it more now. But fast forward, I'd played in punk bands, hardcore bands in my hometown, and did that whole thing. My first time in a studio was the worst time. I'm pretty sure. I'm positive we got overcharged for our time there.
Oh, that will happen.
You don't even know at that point. You're like, oh, okay, I'm down. This will be fun.
Yeah. They're like, oh, it's a recording studio in Vero Beach, Florida. Like, nobody that I knew had one, and this looked promising. There was a huge drum set with one too many toms on it, and I was like, oh man, we're recording. And that was disastrous because it came out sounding like total garbage.
Oh no!
God.
It sounded really bad. But I played around Florida, and then I moved to Nashville. And this had been a few years I stopped playing. And this is where my inspirational speech kicks in, where it's like, you don't know what you missed until you didn't do it, or until you weren't doing it. And I wasn't really playing much. So I nagged my fiance for an upright bass. I mean, I pretty much beat her into submission for it. Or that sounded really bad.
The audio is still rolling, so let's choose our words carefully.
Oh my goodness.
She's in the next room. She's probably like, "Oh my god, he is such an idiot." No, but
Is she okay?
yeah, she's good now. It's been a while.
Recovering.
She's recovered.
My goodness.
Well, you got a stand-up bass. That's rad. I'm very jealous of that.
She got it for me as a birthday Christmas gift.
Nice.
A combo gift, which I gave her shit for, but jokingly, of course. and then that was like, I'm trying to get gigs with an upright, and people around here are like, "Nah, man, we don't really need that." So then I purchased an electric because I had sold everything before I got here, and then as soon as I got my electric, I jumped on with Charlie, and then things started rolling. It felt like that took a really long time to say. That from when I started talking till where I just got.
Just for clarification, who is Charlie again? I'm sorry.
Charlie Abbott. He's the person I primarily play for.
Okay.
Play with. It's more play with than play for.
Nice.
Yeah, we share writing credit and things like that on songs. So.
And what was the name of the group, or is it like Charlie? Is it under his name, Charlie Abbott, or is it like?
Yeah, it's Charlie Abbott.
Okay.
Just him.
Name plug, shameless. Go look him up.
Yeah. There you go.
Yeah, he's got some songs out there. So on like TV shows.
Wow, really?
It
That's
sounds
cool.
it sounds weird saying those things because it's like, here's some names to just dump on the floor and drop, you know?
Well, dude, you worked for it, man. Like, you should be proud of yourself. That's fantastic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you were saying you recently cut an album and you're about to go do some shows. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
Oh, yeah. God, talking about myself, it's so strange.
It's okay. We're all going to get to talk about ourselves a little bit.
I know. I'm gonna start overindulging, or I'm gonna talk too much about myself, and you're gonna be like, "All right, dude, we need to like ask some questions. We need to talk." Yeah, we went into a studio, and we spent 3 days in the studio, and we recorded a full length. These were all songs that there were a few that Charlie had already had when I first started playing. But then we kind of ironed out, and then there were some songs where it just started off as like a jam, 16, 24, 38, just however many measures of the same jam, and then you kind of mold that into a transition part. And we recorded those after, obviously, we fine-tuned it. Yeah, we spent 3 days in the studio, recorded a full length, and should be coming out soon. I don't know when. It's his name on it, so it's kind of up to him. Really.
Right, for sure. So it was 3 days. You guys recorded a full length. How many?
That's impressive.
Approximately how many tracks are going to be in the album?
It's
going to be like a 12 song CD or something like that.
It's nine songs.
Still, though,
Technically 10, because one of the songs is an instrumental, but it's an instrumental part 1 and 2 under the same track.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Oh, okay, cool.
So that's an average of like 3 songs a day. That's really
That's
good, man.
very
That's
good.
some serious speed.
That is impressive.
Yeah, and that we recorded live. It was
cool.
I had my amp in one of the vocal booths. Charlie had his amp in another vocal booth, and then there was a drum room. So the foundation of the songs were recorded live to a click, of course.
Right, naturally.
And then he went in and overdubbed some second guitars and the vocals. So
That's really cool. That's like one of my favorite ways to record. I mean, not to say that I've done it that way, that well, you know what I mean? But I just feel like the energy is all there, and like the dynamics person to person stays intact when you're playing it live together like that. You know what I mean?
You can play off of each other much easier.
Exactly. It's really cool. So that's awesome.
The feel is definitely there instead of just
Right.
And I think when somebody like hears it, they can hear that too. They can hear that organic like energy in your session, essentially. Which is cool because then it's one of those things where we're only a 3-piece. So if you were to go see us play live, it would sound pretty much like you hear on the album.
Yeah, you're getting straight off the record. That's pretty cool.
Exactly.
It's a really cool way to go about it.
So now I have to kind of geek out just a little bit, though. What gear were you using on that?
Good question.
Yeah. I was using I have a Fender Precision Professional, and I'm running it through a Fender Rumble, the 500.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Those are nice.
That thing's great. It's I don't have someone toting around my amp, so until then I'm going to use this. But whenever someone's like hauling my shit around, I'm going to get 810s.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I play an American Standard precision bass, which was the predecessor to the American Professional, and I have a
Right.
Rumble 500. So I like your rig.
Yeah, dude.
There you go, man.
Thumbs up, dude.
And it's cool because anywhere you play, as far as Rumble goes, anywhere I play around here, it's loud enough to play if I'm not in the mic or in the PA mix, but it's also got a DI on it. And most people just do DI for bass anyway.
Right.
So I don't need 810s behind me except to maybe look more impressive. I mean, it would be cool.
Definitely.
Don't get me wrong. And I was using a Dark Glass to B3K overdrive.
Nice.
And that's the only pedal I had at the time of recording. So
Wow. Yeah.
And the other thing about the Rumble 500 that it doesn't get enough credit for, I don't think, at least I don't hear it, is how light it is.
Oh,
Dude,
yeah.
it's so convenient to just roll up to a gig. Like, Nick, you drove, I guess, a Ford Explorer.
Rest in peace.
Oh yeah, R.I.P. my Ford Explorer.
Dude,
just
and
recently
like
died.
you'd roll up with the Fender Rumble 500. You got the whole PA, your bass. Sometimes you'd have Ricky's Mesa in there, and just the amount of gear. And the Rumble's just not taking up too much room. Like, Will's
No.
got the 810 cab, and it takes up so much space. And it's
so dumb.
What do you have, a Chevy Blazer?
Yeah, I've got a Chevy Blazer and an Ampeg 810 with a Fender Super Bassman, and like, yeah, when I got my whole rig in the car, my gas mileage is like terrible. There's so much weight in that vehicle.
Yeah, no. When I usually bring my Rumble 500, I've been bringing my bass in like a nice gig bag recently, just because I always carry two basses with me. But it's easier to just have them in bags. But I mean, I can roll up to a gig. I have my bass on my back. I have my pedal board in one hand, and I have my Rumble 500 in the other hand. And all my cables are either in my gig bag or in my pedal bag, and I'm done. I walk up to the gig in one trip, and I'm there. But when I use my Ampeg SVT, it's one trip for the cab, one trip for the head, another trip for the pedals, another trip for the sometimes I'll stack them up on top of the amp and wheel it, but like it's ungodly heavy. Yeah. When the head is on the cabinet, it weighs like 200 pounds. Which is not fun.
And it weighs 400 when you're done playing. So
Yes, that's really true. Oh my gosh, yeah, real talk though.
Well, I want to move over real quick. I want to hear a little bit about Will's history, starting from the beginnings to kind of where you're at the moment.
Okay, well, music has always been like my thing because growing up with you know what I mean. Like you just put me onto everything that I know for the most part.
Which, by the way, for those who don't know, Will and I are cousins.
Yeah,
maternal cousins, I guess it would be. Our moms are sisters. Mm-hmm. Anyway,
Kissing cousins.
Oh God. Okay. Anyway, so growing up, you showed me like everything. So I was into like all the same stuff as you, and so I started taking guitar lessons at age 9, I believe, which is pretty young. I got my first guitar when I was like 8 or so from my grandparents. They got me like in a little acoustic. It was almost like a flamenco style, like classical guitar.
Sweet.
Which was pretty cool, and it was like a short scale for like a kid type of thing. And then I got a Dean Vendetta. I remember that was my first that was my first actual guitar.
Yes.
And so I played guitar for a few years, and I would just like, I didn't really have formal training either. I'm very like by ear as well. That's actually, my guitar teacher taught me things in that same way. Like Nick is all about theory. Nick is really good with all that kind of stuff. He's talking about the 1s, the 3s, the 5s, and I'm like, what? But what I would do is my guitar teacher would have me bring in CDs or songs I like, and he would just listen to them and teach them to me. And so like now I can do that tremendously with like any song. Just
it's astounding. Yeah,
like I could sit down and learn an entire song in not very long, which is pretty cool. But I played guitar for a few years. I never really got any groups together because I was super young and nobody played anything. Nobody I knew. Everybody was still like playing.
And the ones
T-ball
that
and
did
stuff.
just like kind of weren't up to your par at the time.
Yeah, it was weird. And so I kind of fell off. I had always played music, but it wasn't really anything super serious. And then we got approached by a church to play with them. And it was supposed to be like a one-off thing. Like, oh, we just need somebody to play if you want to do it. If like we need a bass player if you want to do it. And I was like, I guess so. Like, I guess I'll play bass.
Tight. I mean, good practice
yeah,
at least.
exactly. So we went on and they kind of approached us after that and were saying like, yeah, we'd really like to have you on, every week if you're into that. So Chris and I would go and we would play, and then when they were doing the sermon and everything, we'd go eat. We'd come back when it was over and play the last song.
And Jesus wafers. Oh, no.
Yeah. So I like to joke that like, God taught me how to play bass. He pointed me in that direction. So ever since then, it's been nonstop. Like I started playing with a pick because I played guitar. And then after a while, I started playing fingerstyle just because I started getting influenced by more people, like mostly Geddy Lee of Rush.
Hell yeah.
Just my hero. So,
Does Geddy Lee play bass?
oh, come on. He plays everything. Anyway, so I started playing with my fingers after a while, and we would play so much. And it got me so good because we just had to learn all these songs. And then while we were doing that, we would also... Oh, I forgot to mention back when I played guitar, I used to play in Chris's band called Panic Attack every once in a while.
Yeah, we did a gig at the Whiskey A Go-Go when you were 12.
I was 12 years old. I played at the Whiskey.
What? Yeah, I got footage of it somewhere.
Yeah, so that was
that's
pretty wild. I was just like stiff as a tree though. Just didn't move. I was so nervous. So, and then Chris and I started doing another project called White Elephant, in which he wrote all the songs. I just kind of embellished with my bass lines and stuff like that. And that's where I really started getting good.
Yeah, that was predominantly like home. We never went into a studio. It was all home recording, just on the laptop. And you listen to it. The first one's terrible. The second one's terrible, but just a smidge of an improvement. And they just kind of got
terrible.
Yeah, they just we did 9 of them, and we did 9 full length. I mean, they all had between 8 and 12 songs on them. And we just did them at home. We didn't know any better. We just, like this is what we know how to do. Let's make the best we can make. Right now in 2011 or 2012 or whatever year it was. And that's kind of, we got some pretty good recording chops down.
Yeah, and playing chops and writing chops for you, especially lyrically and musically.
Yeah.
Your stuff got really, really good.
I mean, I'm still not really going to be like excited to show people right now, like, hey, check out this recording I did in 2013. but we learned a tremendous amount.
Exactly. So I'm grateful for that.
And
we did that for...
It's cool to have that stuff to look back on and see that that's part of your journey.
That's true.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. That's an excellent point.
Like
Actually,
milestones.
It is, yeah.
It's a part of why you are where you are today. Is
That's
because of those recordings.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's just pretty much learning, and we got them all on tape, which is cool. Not on tape, but
I got to say too, I want to go back in the spirit of what this episode is focusing on. If you're, I just want to talk to anybody out there who's kind of still new to the game, hasn't really done much gigging or recording, but you feel that you're ready. I don't care what your religious background is, dude. Get into a church and start
honestly
playing. Because you're going to be playing stuff that's outside of your comfort zone.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be fairly diverse. I mean, you're not going from jazz to hip hop to metal, but you're sticking kind of within a few genres at least.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a weekly gig, dude. Like, you can really hone in your chops.
Yeah.
And like you say, if you're not a religious person, go get lunch during the sermon and then come back and play the closing song. Like, I can't stress that enough,
agree.
dude. Like,
I completely agree.
That did
100%.
wonders for me.
Yeah, me too. I would definitely not be where I am today without
and they
that.
usually have really great gear too.
Oh, dude, yeah.
True.
PA systems and microphones and stuff are always like on point.
Oh, yeah.
They're always on point.
Now, when you were playing with the church, was the drum behind the fiberglass?
Yes. Exactly. That's exactly how it was.
All right.
Yep.
That must be a standard then.
Yeah, no, it really is.
Yeah, because
Church folk can't handle all those high frequencies.
Well, dude, I mean, the Electro-Harmonics called their reverb the cathedral for a reason.
Hey, that's a good
I
point.
mean, you need to dial that back a little bit.
Yeah.
So then, where was I? Mine's a very long story. I've had a lot of things.
Well, we're kind of stopping at recording at the moment, so let's head over to
Okay,
Nick.
cool.
I want to get your beginning to recording. I know that I know from off podcast discussions that you have at least a couple hilarious studio stories.
Oh my God!
I'm looking forward to hearing them.
I saw her the other day, by the way.
Oh.
yeah. There was that.
Boy.
There was that awkward like, are we gonna hug or am I gonna like bail?
I don't know this story.
Okay, we'll get
Anyway,
into it. In a
anyway.
sec. We'll do it chronological.
I don't either.
Oh yeah. I'll forgive you. So I was a young guy. My mom actually, she played guitar. she was a preschool teacher actually for a very long time, and she would play guitar. So I've always been around music of one kind or another. Of course, I started on guitar because that's what she played, and that's kind of what we had around the house. But I got these big old meat hooks, these big fat sausage fingers. So I couldn't, for the life of me, especially like D major, could not shape that chord. Could not save my life. Mm-hmm. So I just started playing because I wanted to play the music. So I just started playing single notes, and I was like trying to pick out the melodies and stuff. And my mom was like, "You were playing bass," and I was like, "Oh, well, I guess I was playing bass." Like, got it. And I kind of dug it. And then I ended up hanging out with some buddies in middle school, and they wanted to form a group. So my dad bought me a P bass, a Squier Affinity Series P bass.
Yeah,
classic.
Yeah, it was cool. Black one, white pickguard, rosewood fretboard, just the classic.
Exactly mine,
$1
except
special.
it was a jazz bass.
Back in the day. Yeah, played that for a very, very long time. Got into punk and thrash, covered it in stickers. Did the thing that we all do.
Yep.
You were talking about being into theory and stuff. I actually never. It was only recently that I got, as you were saying. Actually, I only recently got into theory within the last, I don't know, maybe 5 years or so. I got really serious about learning theory, and like I got to a point, I don't know, maybe 10 years ago in my playing where I'm like, I'm either going to get really serious about playing or I'm not going to play at all. I'm done. So for 6 years or so, I was just kind of screwing around and picking it up and putting it down, not bothering like learning scales and stuff, just sort of noodling. Mm-hmm. Occasionally like trying to fumble around some Motorhead licks, but never quite like taking it seriously. Downloaded. God, what was that free tab software? Do you guys remember you used to be able to download like a free tab software, but it was all like MIDI stuff?
Oh yes.
And in the software, it would like highlight the notes and stuff as you would go. But it was all MIDI, so instead of like it would be like and the numbers would light up.
Is that Ace of Spades?
It was Ace of Spades. It was Ace of Spades. Yeah. That's the MIDI version of but I did that for a long time. Then I got pretty serious about theory. My buddy Rick, who we have talked about a couple times in these podcasts, is an extremely accomplished guitar player. Technically, I've been playing bass longer than he's been playing guitar, but he's probably, I don't know, almost twice as far along in his journey than I am on mine. So he's an extremely accomplished guitar player. Great. And he really helped push me. One thing I have to recommend, by the way, again, you were talking about people who are listening right now, play with musicians who are better than you.
Yes.
You never want to be the best member of your band.
I've made that mistake so many times.
Oh, yeah. Me too.
Always play with musicians who are way above your level, because you will get so good so fast.
You're forced to get good. Like you have no choice. It's awesome.
You have to, and it's really rewarding because, obviously, if you play with musicians who are better than you and they're snooty about it, bail. Don't do that. But if they're cool about it and they're willing to teach you and help you and push you along. Always, I cannot recommend that highly enough, and that goes for any style, any genre. If you've only played blues or R&B, whatever, get involved with some like serious metal guys. And vice versa. If you only played metal, get involved with some real tight pocket players. Mm-hmm. It's great for your progression. That's kind of something I did. I was into my first band was a thrash metal band. I was into death metal. Yeah, I know. Yeah,
I can't picture that at all.
As my first band was a thrash. It was called Whip Thrash. And
so awesome.
The lead guitar player for that band is now the bass player for the Bad Samaritans. My friend Casey Easterling, dear homie of mine.
That's very cool.
That's kind of how I got my start. Was in metal, and then I sort of got into blues. I bought a BC Rich, a 5-string BC Rich Warlock.
Oh my goodness!
And then I was really into, was it Dimmu Borgir had the bass player Vortex on their what was the album? Progenies of the Great Apocalypse. Vortex was on the album, and I saw in the video he's playing that 5-string BC Rich, and I was like, I want to be that guy. And then I had it for a year, and I was like, I don't want to be that guy anymore. So I was in like a Led Zeppelin style band, and I was playing like a Warlock. I was like, this is not working. So I went and I dropped a mint on a P bass. I went back to a P bass.
Can we kind of talk about the fact that John Entwistle's bass just did not fit that whole thing, that Explorer looking one?
I think it did. The
really?
Ox, man.
Man, that thing is weird.
That's how I feel about Jerry Garcia's. What does he have? A BC Rich?
Oh yeah,
something or other. It's that does not.
Dude, you're in the Grateful Dead. What are you doing?
Jerry Garcia's was something different. I don't think it wasn't a BC Rich. He had a custom made guitar,
but
it has a similar
right?
headstock.
It's very similar in its whole vibe.
Yeah, it's got like pointy stuff, and it's. That was a sweet guitar. That guitar went for like millions of dollars actually when they eventually gave it away to charity or something. It was like raffled off. It's like one of the highest grossing guitars ever raffled.
Wow. That's pretty crazy.
Yeah, no, so totally side story. But anyway, played thrash, played metal, played blues, got serious about theory. Actually, I'm going to go back to school. It's another thing I strongly recommend to all musicians who are on their way to making it into a profession. If you can get into local music school, some kind of music academy, you don't have to go to Berkeley. Take some music classes at your local college. Your local community college, which is something that I'm actually going to do pretty soon. I'm going to pick up a couple of refresher courses, just because like it's stuff that you need to know. I can't read. Actually, I cannot read music. I've been playing for like 16. I know, you're shaking your head. I can't. And it's like it was something I promised myself. It was my New Year's resolution, like for like 3 years running, that I would learn to read music, and I still can't do it. But
I still have to do the face and all cows eat grass, and then I'm like, okay, wait, it's a G.
Yeah, people who can
a lot of the session work here. If you can read the Nashville charts, the numbers, your 1, 5, 4, whatever, if you know how to read that, you can find gigs pretty easily.
You gotta go to Nashville, dude.
Yeah, Nick needs to move to Nashville.
That was something that my friend Rick taught me, because his dad plays trio music, which is like traditional Mexican music, and then they'll say like you assume that every song is in the key of C, right? So you say like dos y dos, or something like that, or you say, like, hey, what's the key of the song? And they say dos, which implies that it's a 2-5-1. So if it's in the key of C major, as you know, it's D minor, G7, C major. Yeah. So when you say, what's the key? Dos, it's 2-5-1.
That's cool.
That is cool.
That is cool.
Makes a lot of sense. Like there's a lot of less guesswork.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or
when I learned the number system, I was amazed by how like simple it is. I mean, music's obviously not simple, but it really made the music world to me, as the theory world, I should say, that much smaller. Because I'm like, oh, you can transpose these numbers into any key. I'm like, it blew my mind. And this is my mind still may be hanging out of my head because this happened like not even a year ago, So yeah,
it makes it all that much less daunting when you just can apply something like that.
I'm at the place where like I get it in theory, but when you shout it out, like, okay, we're going to the 6, like, I need a minute. Okay, got it. I'm not quite on that level yet, but it's like I get the theory behind it.
I have a great young student, and day one I taught her. I was like, we were working on the number system, day one, because it took me years to like figure that out, to come to that conclusion, as you were just saying. It's relatively new for me too. So we're talking about C major, but I'll be like, okay, now we're going to work on arpeggio. So I want you to play a 1-3-5, major arpeggio in the key of C major, and she's 12 or something like that. And I'll just be like, I was like, do a falling fifth now. Boom, 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 boom. Da, da. She's got it. So like the earlier you learn it, man. Or we're doing like, I told her, I was like, give me a 1-4-5, make a swing. And she knows it's going to be she's going to be a shuffle pattern. Yeah,
that's cool though. That's very cool.
Yeah, dude. I told her, I was like, in a couple years, you're going to be better than I am. That's my goal.
I think it's funny. Sometimes I'll be jamming. I'll just be here, just noodling and stuff, and like you're watching me, and you're like, to the 6, at the 3, that's it. And I'm just like, dude, I don't know what I'm doing. What are you talking about? Like, I'm just playing what sounds right.
You have such a good ear, though, dude. You have such a good ear. I've even commented, I was like, oh, how cool that you would go to the 6 right there. And you're like, what? Or like, yeah.
Like, no, dude, that's the 12th fret. That's not the 6th.
Yeah.
I want to get into some of Nick's studio stories.
Yeah, that you kind of piqued my interest there.
Yeah, we got to go back to that.
Oh, okay. I only have a couple, but
that's fine. That's all you need.
It's all I wanted. If they're all like that, I'm done with that. I used to run an open mic night here in town, and with my drummer in my group. And we basically, like, he plays like 3 different instruments. I play a little bit of guitar. I'm working on playing some drums, but mostly I'm just known as a bass player. And this person came in again. I'm gonna do nothing but gender neutral and like no names, because I don't. Of course, she's not listening to this because
you did it. You just did
it. Oh my god.
I think we can go gender, but no names.
Definitely no names. But anyway,
God.
Whoops. So she approaches my drummer Mike and I and says, "Hey, I want to book you guys for my album that I'm working on." And she's like, and I was like, "Okay, cool." And I realize now that the album that I'm working on, it wasn't like I'm in the process of recording. It was like I'm still writing like songs. So when you get to the studio, eventually, fast forward, there's stuff that's like not done. Like she's still figuring out chord progressions, and like she doesn't even know like the names of chords that she's playing. You know, she'll just put her hand here and she's like, "It sounds cool." And I'm like, "What chord is that?" She's like, "I have no idea." And I'm sitting there with the bass trying to like look at her hand. Oh no! Like, God, where is she? But I get these liner notes from her, right? So we were renting a studio at the time. So we told her to come over to the studio. First of all, she comes into my studio and says, "So just so you know, while we are working together, there is no drugs or no alcohol allowed." And I'm like, okay, normally that would be a super reasonable request, but like you don't come into like my home and like tell me what I can and can't do on my time. She wasn't even paying me. We were practicing. We were like going over the tunes. You know what I mean?
Oh, jeez.
And I was like, look, like I was like, you know, yeah, I'll have a beer every now and again, but like that's not my style. You know, like that's not cool. You know. But I was like, all right, I'm willing to oblige. You're going to give me a pretty substantial amount of money. That number is slowly increasing in my head as I'm like talking to her too. I was like, I'm going to charge her a lot more.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like, okay, cool. So she gives me the liner notes, and I'm looking at them, and I'm like, okay, so what are you kind of looking for? You know, what's the vibe that you're kind of digging on this stuff? And she's like, well, my favorite bass player is like Flea. She's like, I love Flea. And I was like, tight. We'll get like some super aggressive slapping, you know, post Larry Graham style funk stuff. She's like, yeah, I really like Flea. I really like John Entwistle. You know, I was like, oh, Hammer Hands. You know, yeah, I'm digging this. I'm digging it. You know, and she gives me the liner notes, and they literally say, like, I have to do like an NPR voice when I do this. They literally say stuff like, imagine yourself stepping out of a cabin on a cold winter morn, and you have a cup of coffee fresh off of the pot that you are about to sip, and you look over and there's a bird that flies past the da-da-da-da. And these are legitimately my instructions on how she wants me to play. But there's no chord progression. There's no.
That's what I was gonna say. Where the key? You know, where's the key?
That's what I said. I was like,
I don't give a shit about the cabin. What? Give me the key.
Oh my god!
How do you guys
give me the
know
key
that's
to the cabin?
That's exactly what G major sounds like.
It's preposterous, dude. Absolutely preposterous. Her guitar was out of tune when we went to go record. It was out of tune. I could hear it. I was like, that's wrong. I'm sorry. This is wrong. I started doing like kind of, you know, more aggressive like Flea style. She's like, no, I don't want you to slap. I was like, okay, I want her to slap. She actually asked me, she's like, why do you think I would want you to slap right there?
Whoa.
And I was like, well, because I thought it was very clever. I was like, well, the line is, it's about an argument that gets really physical. You know, like the husband and wife or whatever characters begin to argue when it gets physical, and then the lyrics drop, and then the melody, and then you just hear the melody. And I thought, how cool would it be to get like a really aggressive kind of like, you know, percussive style? You know, maybe not like slapping, but like very percussive. Mm-hmm. And she's like, "Why do you think I would want that?" And I was like, I don't fucking know. Apparently, I don't know.
Well, because you mentioned two bass players that beat the shit out of their strings. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, and it was literally, it ended up just being like boom, boom, boom. It was just like a 1-5. Like, how many bass players take a light bulb? 1-5, 1-5. It was that type of lines, man. And she eventually, you know, she paid me cash, which was fine. And then I get like an email from her later, like a week later, and she's like, I just want to let you know that I've elected to not use any of your bass lines during my album.
Oh, geez.
I really hope you understand, and best of luck to you on what is remaining of your bass career, or something like that.
Oh my god,
dude, that is.
And she,
uncalled for.
Yeah, and I still follow her on Facebook, and she does not get gigs like ever, like no one.
Say la fucking V, dude. Yeah. Whatever.
All good.
Hey, she pays
all
you.
Good, sister. Yeah, I was exactly.
Yeah,
I was like, I got my cash.
It's like, dude,
I'm out. I went and bought a case of beer.
It seems to me like it's better that your name's not on it. At that point,
I was kind of thinking that too. Yeah, I was kind of thinking that too.
That is a good point.
She wanted to do "God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen," but she couldn't figure out the rhythm she wanted to do. She didn't. She was totally reharmonizing it, but in the worst way possible. So instead of like chord rephrasing, she was just playing different chords, just wrong chords.
Oh man.
And then she's like, "Okay, well, I'm going to transpose it," and I was like, "Well, I learned it in this key." I can totally transpose it, but what key do you want? She's like, well, I haven't really figured out what feels best. I don't care what feels best. What sounds best? Like what
So
works?
she sounded like a guitar player in like Guitar Center, like that you would hear trying out a guitar in Guitar Center.
It was rough,
essentially.
dude.
Honestly, to me, she sounds like a songwriter.
Ouch.
Zing!
That's rough. That is a rough story.
Yeah. It was.
I've elected to use none of your bass lines.
I've elected to use none of your bass lines that you've recorded, so good luck on whatever's left of your life.
I've got
You too,
it's not really, it's a semi interesting story. So my fiance's friend's dad, oh my God, he came down and paid for like trying to get these things in order. He was paying for studio time for his daughter and my fiance to record some songs. So they each get their own song and then they do a duet. I went in and I played bass for them. The producer engineer dude, he hired some studio musicians because that was included in the price of whatever. Long story short, there's this one douchebag guitarist that I still remember his name. I still remember what he looks like, and I still can't stand just his fucking scent, and this dude was just so short with me, so shitty with me. And at one point, because we had the number system, we had charts, and they were trying to figure out one of these charts because the song my fiance sang was Gloria Estefan song, and there were like two key changes, all these just numbers all over the place.
Some seriously complex stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was pretty complex stuff, and they were trying to work it out. So I walk into the control room, and I'm like, "What are you guys doing?" Or like, "What are you guys figuring out?" And the guitarist looks at me, he's like, "We'll let you know," or just something along those lines. Where I'm like, "God, I want to rip his fucking stupid hair out." And then we go, so we go and we sit down because she hears him say that to me. So we go and we sit down, and she comes out. And she was like, "Do we have a problem?" And I'm like, "Oh no. She's like, this is supposed to be a fun day for everybody. So if you have a problem, you need to tell me right now if you've got an issue." And I was
She
like,
says this to the guitar player?
yeah, to his face, like this far away from his face, and like 8 inches away from his face. So she said the piece, she walked away, and I just wanted to lean over to the dude and just go, "Roasted." I just wanted to whisper it so bad to him.
That's awesome.
But he didn't say anything the rest of the day. So I guess he didn't know not to piss off a Venezuelan woman. So
Oh man,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
one of the bass instructors at our shop, and a guy I will always steal some time with, told me, he said that what did he say? Sometimes you don't. Sometimes it's your table manners that get you invited to dinner. Which I thought was really, really interesting, because he said, basically he's like, you don't have to be necessarily the best musician on the block, but you know what, man, if you're easy to work with and you're friendly and you know how to make people comfortable and encourage them to get the best out of them, that's what's going to get you the gig.
yeah, that's totally true, because you have to think if you're going into a band to play shows and go on tour, people need to know that they can spend weeks with you, 3 feet away from you 90% of the time, and there's some people that are great drummers, great guitarists, great bass players that I've met, but they're sitting around not doing anything because they're just jerks.
Yeah.
They're just total jerks. They're not easy to get along with. They're complaining about one thing or another instead of just laying back and just being cool, man.
Right.
That's all you have to do.
Dude, and the same applies for like venues too. Like the amount of shows that I've played at venues with local bands, and some of these other bands are just dicks to the sound guys.
Oh,
like those sound guys are going to report back like, no, fuck these guys. I don't want them back.
Yeah.
Dude, I had this one experience. I have, again, without in honor of not naming names, I had a friend who, a couple years back, he was still kind of new to guitar. He's pretty good, but he doesn't really play with other people. So for one of his birthdays, I think he was like 17 or 18, his dad booked some time at this studio/venue in Camarillo, and he got some of his friends together and they were playing a gig. And it's not so much that they were blatantly rude, but they just didn't know when and how to get serious. So the guy was, had him set up on the stage to kind of get a feel for playing live, playing with a band, this sort of thing. And it was just constant giggling, just like really adolescent, which, there's a time and place. I love adolescent humor when it's appropriate. But when the sound guy's being serious, like, okay, hey, I need you all to stop playing so I can get a sound level on the guitar, and they're all joking and playing around, it's like, dude, I was there and it was painful. I was like, I need to leave now.
Really?
The cringiest experience.
Yeah, dude, like, respect is the name of the game.
It's almost impossible to get me to be serial, though. I will say, like, in all honesty, that's me when we're here.
Yeah.
I'm trying to knock out a script, and you're just back there like...
I mean, again, time and place. But like with the sound dudes, you want to be cool to them because
totally.
They have the mute button right here, and your solo's not going to be heard.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's a good point.
That's one rule that I've always told people is that especially if you're going to be gigging live, be cool to the sound guy, get to know your bouncers and your bartenders and your wait staff. You know what I mean? Like, those are the people that will always have your back. I've done gigs where, like, the place is popping, the kitchen is slammed, but we finish the gig, and there's a plate of food, like, for every member of the band. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's
and
awesome.
You're like,
That's very
dude,
cool.
Daniel, thank you so much. Really, or Allie, like, you hooked it up, girl. Every time, Allie, you always got me. Like, they're definitely always be cool to your sound guys, but get to know your wait staff too, man. Those guys are really like sweating and working hard. They're essentially providing a service just like we musicians are doing. So,
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, we all play for the same team.
True.
So, Josh, do you mentioned earlier before we started recording that you got a gig coming up tomorrow? I think.
Yes. Yeah, we're playing at Mercy Lounge. There it is. Whoops! I grabbed it. I grabbed it before it got too far away. We're playing at the Mercy Lounge. It's a Nirvana versus Foo Fighters show. So there's 4 or 5 bands playing, and each band's covering 2 songs from Nirvana and 2 songs from the Foo Fighters. Mm-hmm. So it'll be a pretty cool experience, I think.
I hope somebody does Lounge Act.
Oh,
That's one of my favorites.
great jam.
Yeah, we're doing Sliver and Come
that's
As
a
You
good one.
Are.
Nice.
We wanted to do Sliver and Very Ape, but the dude's like, play a hit. I'm like, God, really? All right.
He's like, you're already doing Sliver. Let's go to some slack. That's so funny. That's pretty cool, though.
And then,
Is the drummer doing the Nirvana songs then going to be the guitar player for the Foo Fighters songs?
Oh my god.
Interestingly
That's actually
enough,
a really
I've
good
never
point.
seen those 2 guys standing next to each other. Isn't that strange? In all like the rock history, I've never seen the drummer of Nirvana with the frontman for the Foo Fighters. I've never seen them in the same room together. It's weird, huh?
It's like a Superman thing.
It
It's Batman.
is weird.
It's Batman.
Both.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
So, other than for the Foo Fighter Nirvana gig, do you guys have a tour planned for the album?
Not yet. He's got Charlie has something in the works as far as maybe a song or 2 as far as placement. I don't know too much about that. We have this thing where it's if there's an opportunity that may happen, we just mention it once and wait for it to happen instead of like talking about it. Instead of saying, oh well, this thing may happen. And then when it doesn't happen, everybody's asking you, well, what happened to that thing that was supposed to happen? And you're like, oh, it didn't happen. So
that's kind of a good way to look at it too, because then you're giving yourself these hopes of something that like isn't even guaranteed.
Yeah, you don't.
And
get
that just
all
makes
let
it harder
down.
for you too. So that's a pretty good way to go about it.
Yeah. Well, and on a metaphysical level, if you're talking about these things that are going to happen, I feel like you're using that energy talking about it instead of letting that thing happen.
Yeah.
And use that energy that you're using to talk about it. I just tied myself in a knot. But no tour planned. We've got a show coming up on St. Patrick's Day.
Yes.
And and I think we have a few
gig.
more this month. Yeah. So I'm not sure. I usually find out, a couple weeks before. So
Yeah. Cool, man.
If you ever find your way out to California, let us know, because
Yeah, definitely.
that'd be very cool.
Conversely, if we're ever
Yeah,
in Nashville,
definitely.
Yeah, if we're ever in Nashville, yeah, we'll let you know.
You should, if you do come to Nashville, check out Eastside Music Supply. They have a wall of pedals.
Yeah.
Nice.
I definitely feel like I've heard that name.
Yeah, I've heard it too.
Yeah, probably on Instagram or something. Probably have pictures of the wall of pedals, and that's what we're.
Oh yeah, probably. So I
they're
imagine you're gigging pretty regularly though, right?
We took some time off. We were playing quite a bit, and then we were playing quite a bit. We went into the studio, and then we took a break as far as figuring out what to do with the album, listening to the mixes, to the masters, getting everything tweaked. But I've also been just kind of, apart from that, doing my own thing with I'm going to be playing with it's an Americana kind of band. They're going out on the road right now, but when they get back, I'm supposed to do a couple of rehearsals with them. They have a new EP coming out, and it's less Americana, more Stevie Nicks, Eagles kind of sound.
Yeah, I living in Southern California, I'm like by default an Eagles fan. You just have to be. Living in Southern California, you have to like those kind of bands. Or it's either or it's versely, you either really like the Eagles or you absolutely hate the Eagles, like with a Big Lebowski.
I was just gonna reference a Big
Been a long
Lebowski.
night, man.
I
beat
hate
you to
the
it.
fucking Eagles.
Beat you to it.
You get out of my camp.
You get out of my peaceful cab.
Oh my god.
So Josh, would you are you a bona fide professional musician out there, or do you have another job and do music on the side?
I do have a job. I do have a kid, and I have to, work through the state to pay for child support. So I do have a job for that, but I'm trying to not do that.
Aren't we all, right?
Not pay child support. I'm trying not to.
I'll keep paying the child support. I just don't want to have this job.
That's the second one you've had today.
I know. I'm just really slipping tonight. But yeah, I do have a full-time gig, which is convenient because it's a recording studio, record label attached to it. So
Oh wow, that's
pretty cool.
fantastic.
Yeah.
That's cool.
yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
That's kind of how yours is too. Your line of work is in the same vein, which is cool.
I'm a lucky cat. Yeah,
Mine is
I
absolutely
manage
not.
a music store in town, so dude.
Yeah. Well, I
working
mean,
at
in
a toy
addition to
store.
that, elaborate. What else you do musically?
I don't know. What else do I do musically, Chris?
Well, I mean, you got the Seaside Band. You're actually going to be playing my wedding.
I am going to
in
be playing your
June.
wedding pretty soon.
Yeah.
That's true. I have a group here in town. We have a gig next week. We have a gig. Oh man, we have Friday, and I can't remember if we're playing that Saturday or the following Saturday. But I'll have to clean my suit. I always like to wear a suit, look all good. We play like yeah. It gets ugly. It's funny.
Oh my god, that was very descriptive.
We've played some like really like greasy like redneck dive bars, and we roll up in our suits, and everyone there just looks like just like so uncomfortable, and they're like, boy, I think you're in the wrong bar, and then I'll just like turn on the distortion pedal. I'm like, nope, I'm.
It's all the facade.
Yeah, it's all part of the fun, and then we get tips, which is always good.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah. I don't really get paid for anything that I do, but I have a lot of fun doing it all.
that's what ultimately matters, because if you try to get
Yep.
into music for money, you're doing your head's in the wrong place, man.
Yeah.
You are doing your shit the wrong way.
I
You gotta like what you do.
That's exactly what because I tell, anybody that if I'm not playing out somewhere, I'm going to be playing at home regardless of if anybody knows what I'm playing or not. I'm still doing it at home. I'm still going to do it whether I'm getting paid for it or not. And
Yeah, see.
I think, like you said, that's the most important part of it. I mean, yes, of course you want to make money off of it and make that your living and have everybody know you for being this great bass player or musician, which is, obviously that'd be fucking great. But at the end of the day, it really just boils down to you. I just said 2 cliches in a row there. Wow.
Own them, bro.
just
Roll
really-
with them. Give me another one.
It really, you got to take your hat off to the people that do it for the sheer enjoyment of it.
You got to polish your spoon before you scoop out the. I don't know.
I've never heard that one.
I'm just making them up now. I'm
okay.
trying to see if I can just slide them in.
Make up a cliche, isn't that the whole thing? Is it? It's already a thing.
Putting the pussy on the chain wax.
Oh my god.
Well, I mean, the interesting kind of side of it, I mean, you bring up a good point of, don't get into it to make money. But at the end of the day, it's like, if you have to serve, here's a cliche for you. If you have to serve two masters, then you can't really give 100% of your energy, whether it be creative or just, physical, to one of it. If I wanted to be serious and have a career in music and make a living in it, I know I'm not going to make, Lars Ulrich amount of money, but to have something that can support me and my family and pay the rent and the electricity bill, I can't have a 9 to 5 and then roll out to a gig and make how much do you make at a bar gig now? About $300 minimum.
Yeah, it's $300 for a 3-hour set, so it's about $100 an hour.
Yeah,
that's what it is in California. I don't know if it's any better in Nashville.
I don't know. Honestly, I haven't played a 3-hour set. So
yeah, that's wild. That is insane. Bold. Maybe a half hour. I'm all sweaty.
We played a 3-hour show, and then one dude came up to us and he was like, "Hey, you guys are great. You guys should come play my house. I'm renting a house." And I was like, "Cool, man. When's the party?" He's like, "Tonight." So we had just done like a 8:30 to 11:30, and he booked us for 2 more hours up on the hill, and I think we charged him $300 an hour. Woo. I think so. We made another $600 that night. That's after gig money, and the guy did it. He was like, nice. He was like done. Some like well loaded guy who was throwing a house party, and they served us drinks all night. It's pretty sweet.
That's pretty cool. Yeah, I get paid in like alcoholic beverages and couches to sleep on.
Those tend to go together pretty well.
Yeah, exactly. Be like, I'll play if I can sleep here.
Yeah, the last gig I did, I got free dinner out of it, and the headliner's guitar player asked me about my pedals, so I got to go into a little history of Way Huge and tell him about my guitar that was at the Gibson Amphitheater and all that. He was just asking about my gear, and I'm like, this is bizarre.
Am I gonna get stabbed?
Dude, just like we're doing sound check, and he just walked up to me and he's just asking me like, oh, what is this and this and this? Anyway, I digress. So my I guess what I want to do is I kind of want to end this on a little bit of a happy note, because we were just kind of shitting on, you're not going to make money in it, but no. So I guess I just kind of want to ask the three of you, like, what is your opinion or advice for someone who is ready to take that step to really, get out of the bedroom and onto the stage or into the studio, and at least make a solid effort into making this a profession? Like, I mean, we've talked about some of the keynotes, be diverse, be respectful, all that sort of thing, but the specifics. I'm going to start with Nick. What do you?
No, I'm going to let you guys go first so I can re-roll your ideas. I'm going
to go first.
Okay, Will's going to go first.
So we already talked about this, but having like an important side of it is knowing the right people to play with. You know what I mean? Playing with people who are either around your level or better than you, and making sure that they're cool people. Because like we were saying, it's like you don't ever want to spend that much time with somebody who's an asshole, even if they're really good. You know what I mean? So you got to find the right people to play with if you're looking to play, out and about for the first time. Another very important thing that a lot of people do not do is like practice with a metronome.
Oh my God, yes.
You know what I mean? Because you can get all these chops and be like, yeah, I'm so good. And the second you're playing with somebody who knows what they're doing, you just suck.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I run into that a lot. I run into that so much. And like, granted, I play with a metronome less than I should, but I'm in no way like bad. You know what I mean? Like I can keep up with like a drummer and things like that. So I feel like those are very important aspects. And like another one, coming from us, like, you got to make sure your tone fits what you're doing too.
That is, very
That's
important.
A very important.
We talked about this in a previous episode. Is the tone that sounds good in your bedroom is not the tone that usually sounds good live.
Because you feel like you're almost sacrificing, for the mix. At first, you're like, I don't want to do that, but as you do it more and more, like you want it to be perfect in the mix. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you'll do whatever you have to do. Like when I first started playing, I would play with a lot of like treble and high mid, and I was like, oh, this is awesome. And the second you're playing with a band, it's like that's not really what you need. So it was hard for me to dial that back. But I'm at the point now where it's like, you can hear, what needs to happen in the mix of the song and everything like that. So
yeah,
I'll happily adjust because it makes it. It's like you're not trying to like look at how cool I am. You know what I mean? It's maybe like listen to what we're doing. Like listen to the music we're playing. So it's, I would say tone, metronome, and people. And
I think another thing that's overlooked too is it's called the music business, but people forget that second word, that it is indeed a business. Mm-hmm. You can have chops, you can have great tone, you can do. That there's another cliche: the best guitar player in the world sitting in his bedroom right now, because it's not so much. Here we go again. It's not what you know; it's who you know. Like networking is the key.
That's true. That's
meeting as many people as you can. Get in with the sound guys because they know someone else who knows someone else. And that's being, in the right place at the right time with the right people, in my opinion, I think is more important than really sitting there and dialing in the chops. I mean, you need that to a degree. You can't suck.
Yeah.
But, I mean, I guess you can to a degree. Some people would.
That's what you're going for. I mean,
yeah. If you're,
we all suck.
Good enough for Lars Ulrich.
We all suck to go. Oh!
And he's my favorite drummer, dude.
Ouch. I felt that one for you. Woo! Yikes. Okay, so yeah, that's my input.
Yeah.
I haven't made any money, and I'm not like a touring person.
Yeah, I know. I kind of feel like who the hell am I to be talking about this?
You're the executive producer of Basic Gear Review.
Hell yeah, I am.
Yeah, there you go.
I'm just the looks.
And I am actually a business owner now. So
You are. By the way,
I went to a
congratulations
networking
are in order. Yeah.
Yeah, I went to a networking breakfast this morning.
There you
Chamber
go.
of Commerce, Ventura County.
Officially
cool.
a business, dude.
Yeah.
Congratulations,
Thanks, man.
Yeah. So,
Congrats.
by all means, please do go next. Give us some input here.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't mean to make it sound like you just get shit on all the time. At the beginning, you kind of do. It's
called cutting your teeth, and you got to do it.
Yeah,
Man.
and you got to be realistic.
Yeah.
It's not all instant.
Yeah.
You have to, and this may go deeper than just like music. It may be like a social thing these days, but or a society a problem with society. But you have to know that you're not going to get it right away. You have to put in the time. You have to pay your dues, and maybe you'll get lucky where you'll get a huge gig with it. You'll get a huge gig,
right?
just yeah.
Don't worry about me.
out of nowhere, but it is about knowing you'll get knocked around. That's one thing as far as making money in it, and just doing it, doing it. And like Chris said about it being a business, you have to treat yourself like a business if you do want to make money off of it. Put yourself out there, hit people up, get on a Facebook group and a musicians group, type in bass player, and if people are looking for a bass player, hit them up. Even if they posted it 2 years ago, hit them up. If they're like, oh, we're good now, be like, hey, keep me in mind in 6 months. If you're, slow, hit them up again. Just be that person. Cold call people. It sucks, but I'd rather do it for me than do it for like AOL or something.
Yeah.
Is AOL even a thing?
I don't know.
I think it still is, but
still?
it's very unpopular.
I took somebody's email address for like a warranty issue, and they had it at AOL.com, and I looked at them and I was like, you're a holdout.
It's like,
good Lord.
Where's the time machine? I want to hop in.
What year is it?
But going back to the name of the podcast, it's Passion to Profession. So you'll go through all of this, getting shit on, as we're calling it, because like it's what you love to do at the end of the day. You know what I mean? It's your passion. So it's like, and like we're saying, you can't expect it to be easy. But if you're gonna fold that quickly, it's obviously not, what you want to do.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah. I think what we're all sort of in agreement is that like work hard, have fun, but treat it like a business. Take it seriously. One thing I highly recommend is never ever settle for good enough. That's something I had to still learning to this day. I'll lay a track or I'll come up with a riff and I'm like, yeah, that sounds good enough, and then I'll be like, nope, not good enough. There's so many people and that's, again, this just pertains to people who want to go that far, who want to become a professional studio level musician or something like that, and a touring artist. Not just bass players. This goes for anybody. Don't ever settle for good enough. My timing's okay. Timing needs to be perfect. I can't read music. I totally admitted that earlier. That's not good. That's not good enough. I need to get to the next level. So, have fun, treat it seriously. One thing I will recommend is get business cards. And that goes for not just your band, but also for you as if you're trying to be a session musician, hired gun kind of situation. Again, not just bass players. This goes for guitar players, keyboard players, vocalists, whatever. Get a business card for your band so they can book your band, maybe with your contact info, but then also have a business card for you, and then just give them out. Give them out. Have your Instagram, have of course your email, but have your Instagram, have your Facebook contact info, have your Tumblr, Twitter, all the various social media platforms.
Every avenue possible.
Foursquare, I don't know, plenty of fish.
LinkedIn.
Profile. Yeah. So, and as you were saying, get out there, get on the Facebook groups, send out messages, call people, make yourself in a positive and active presence in the community. And I don't know, just what little fortune I've had has been because of that.
Something I've been trying to get into is like I've been getting on Instagram and looking at hip hop producers. Ooh. Because all you have to do is record like 4 bars of a bass line, copy and paste it the rest of the song.
That's true. The thing there, though, is you got to like really know melody and really know what catches ears. You know what I mean? Because you're playing the same thing over and over. So if it's not exactly what needs to be happening, it's like, you know what I mean? It's not even worth it. That's the one thing with that, which is kind of cool because then that teaches you to really like not squander your opportunity when you're playing, just play a lick because it's in key. It's like, no, play something that is melodically like pleasing and makes you want to like come back and hear more of it,
It's gotta be hooky.
Yeah, look at Questlove. He usually plays with just a hi-hat, a snare, and a kick.
That's all he needs. That's all he needs.
But it's so good, his knowledge of that. I saw that, what was it, Red Bull Music Academy did that video where he was like, he had the kit out and he was like talking about doing the Jay Dilla drunk style and all that stuff, and like he took it so seriously, which is cool, but it was very creative and very hooky. I
remember
my favorite album, well, I was listening to it for like 2 weeks straight, was the D'Angelo Voodoo album.
I'm so on that kick right now. Yeah, Voodoo and Black Messiah. Oh, yeah. Pino Palladino on that one.
Pino Palladino. Woo!
Yeah, dude.
Yes.
He's still in the Vanguard. He's still the bass player for the Vanguard, if I remember correctly.
Really?
Yeah,
yes,
Pino Palladino plays with The Who. He plays with the Vanguard. He plays with John Mayer. He plays with a bunch of dude is absolutely one of my favorite bass players, and no one knows who he is. Like, unless
ridiculous.
you're like a bass player. Yeah. But that you've heard him, you probably own 6 or 7 records that he's been on, and you don't know his name. Pino Palladino.
And he's like
incredible.
6'7",
Yeah, he's giant. He looks like Slenderman,
Slenderman.
He's got the bald head and everything.
Spider-Man.
Yeah,
God, no, that guy's tremendous.
Yeah, that's a dude who knows how to lay out like a super hooky bass line, memorable.
Have you seen that jam he does with John Mayer and they do that Meters song?
Sissy Strut.
Yeah.
The song that no one knows how to play right, apparently.
Did you watch the
It's all over YouTube right now.
Yeah, it's huge. Everybody's playing. And it's like so small. It's such a little thing.
But it's a lick, though. It's like,
that's true.
The
meters are amazing. Okay, anyway,
way off topic now.
Well, we're getting close on our end time. Is there anything that you guys want to add as a kind of a final thought?
I feel like I've said almost everything I know.
Yeah,
but it was a pleasure having Josh here for sure. It was a really cool
dude.
input.
Thank you so much for reaching out and coming out and hanging out with us.
Yeah, it was a pleasure being here. Like, this is being here, but
also being here.
Yeah,
yeah, it's cool. I like what you guys do. It's a really interesting concept. You've probably heard it, but you help people purchase pedals without having to, I don't know. Because here's the thing. I feel weird about going into a store and trying pedals, because especially Eastside Music Supply, because the dude will sit there, they'll come and they'll plug in the pedal for you and twist the knob for you while you're playing.
Oh,
I feel
that.
bad walking out not buying a pedal, though, after they're doing that work for you, know? So
fair.
It's good to see these like reviews and go, okay, I have an idea, and go try pedals out that I've seen and go, okay, now I'm sure that I know I'm going to buy at least one of these today, so I don't feel as bad trying them out in the store. So what you're doing is awesome. I'm sure you're helping a lot of people make decisions that they may have been stressing out over. So
well, thank you so much. What's funny is that we actually, like you said,
we're happy to do it.
We help people, buy these things. We get certain comments that are like, man, like, I hate when you release videos because there goes another like $150.
Who's the dude on YouTube? His profile is literally Cliff Burton, and he's like, I should have never subscried to this channel. I was like, bro, I didn't know you were still alive. Like, are you in hiding?
God.
It's probably not a
so
good way
funny.
to maintain the I'm dead scene.
Oh my God.
Thanks for liking and subscribing, though, Cliff Burton.
Well, it's always cool to hear that perspective, because the other thing that I think of when we put them together is, I do want to help people, make a decision on what they want, but to go a little bit further, to open someone up to something they may have been closed to, like especially that's a guitar pedal, I can't use it. Oh, no. check it out. You
Yeah.
know, and we run like one of the, the Swollen Pickle, or the Green Rhino. A lot of people would think, oh, it's a guitar pedal, I can't use it. Oh, contraire, sir.
Yeah.
So in addition to helping people buy it, we also want to kind of open their minds and, if possible, encourage you to, go out and try it with your gig or, your rig, your style, all that sort of stuff. So it's always really cool to hear different people's perspective, and that's nice.
I appreciate the feedback, man.
Yeah,
Thank you.
definitely.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we're trying to kind of create a community and have everyone connected. It's not so much look at us and how cool we are. It's like, no, let's be in this together.
Yeah, we're all just normal guys.
Yeah.
We're all the same person. I just happen to be sitting in front of a camera doing what everyone else does. So it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
4 strings, 1 love, bro.
Oh,
4, 5, or 6.
Dude, that's our
whatever
new-
floats your boat. Dude.
yeah.
Even if you're doing 8,
Yeah.
you got some octaves going on. That's
Yeah.
three strings.
That's right.
All right, well, Josh, before we wrap it up, for people who are interested in the new album that you got coming out, tell people where they can learn more about it.
You can follow me on Instagram. It's at I Use Words, or
I'm going to do that now.
I'm going to do that right
Yeah,
now.
I'm doing that.
Wait, so slow down. I use words.
yeah. And then the guy I play with is Charlie Abbott, and that's at Charlie Abbott Music. You can find that through my page.
Nice.
Yeah.
Use words, JB.
Do you have a gray cat?
Wow, you followed him so fast.
I did. I already followed him. Is this your cat?
Yeah, that's my
Precious.
I like your cat.
Precious.
Your
I
cat,
love
your
cats.
your cat is adorable.
I will follow you as soon as
Ooh, I see Minor Threat.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. So follow
The
for bass
Fountainhead?
licks. Follow for bass licks and cats at I Use Words.
Oh, there's that voodoo.
Instagram.
I can't follow you yet because we're using my phone for the FaceTime. I was sitting there like, where's my phone?
But as far as like, the album, I don't know. We had a name for it. We were going to name it Nirvana, just because it's kind of like because it is a grungy album. But we decided against it, and we had album artwork that was a little.
It's cool. There's this baby. He's swimming in a pool, chasing a dollar.
Yeah, but we realized that's already been done before.
I thought that looked familiar. Damn it.
But we stepped back from the album artwork we were doing because of some issues. So whenever that's coming out, I'm unsure, but it'll be known.
Nice. Well,
That's
I
for
really
sure.
look forward to hearing it, man.
Yeah, me too.
I'm about it. I look forward to hearing it.
Cool.
Yeah, I want to play one. Play a song as we're going out. What song do you want us to play?
Let's do Silver Sun.
Okay,
Sun.
cool. Sounds good.
Yes. Silver Sun by Charlie Abbott.
All right, so on that note, thank you all so much for listening. Huge thank you to our Patreon supporters, and just for everyone who enjoys what we do and hangs out with us and puts up with our silliness from time to time. So on that note, again, thank you guys. I'm Chris.
I'm Will.
Nick.
Oops.
I'm Will.
And I'm Nick.
And for our new friend, Josh Baker, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you next time.
Situations got me reeled in and I can't hide. I need some help sometimes. You wake up early every morning just to close your eyes and put on your disguise. Someone's screaming at the stairs again. I can't hear a single word you said, 'cause I'd be on my way again. Take my breath and let me in. I just hope that someone's listening. Up above, just somebody. Irreplaceably prolific, like the things that you say. Oh God, please let me stay. Entranced and occupied by static now, and I can't lie. I'm bored to death